Hello guys, welcome to the channel and welcome to a different kind of video today. I'm talking about video nasties, and this video is 5 films that should have been video nasties, but they managed to skip past the video nasty thing. Yes, I was going to put in Texas Chainsaw Massacre and The Exorcist because they actually didn't hit the section 1 video nasties. They were just films that were just banned for different reasons and weren't available here long after the video nasty time. But yeah, they're not included in it. So here's 5 films that I think should have been video nasty. So let's approach it with the obvious one, the 1970s Italian film by Pasolini, and it's Salo. It's the 120 Days of Sodom. It's amazing how this missed the video nasty sort of thing. This is an absurdly offensive film in so many ways. In torture, the ways that human beings are being treated, and all this horrible ways, as well as the violence and the sort of like offensive stuff and sexual offences that go on within this film, where it includes rape, male and female. It includes them eating feces. It includes them being tortured and killed and humiliated. It's quite disgusting, and how it managed to not get on the video nasty list, I have no idea. But yeah, because this was a 70s film, 1975, so it would have come straight under the radar, but it wasn't on the video nasty list, and it's absolutely shocking, really. I mean, I know it's kind of like a art house film, but you could say that with the Possession, which was on it. You could say that was an art house film, but this was like, it was worse than any of the video nasties. It's worse than any of them. You know, I can't think any of the video nasties that was close to this. Probably Cannibal Holocaust, but none of them were close to the obscenities that took place in this film. And it's crazy. It's based around not Nazi Italy, where we have this group of like Nazi officers that run this sort of like, it's almost like a camp, and they've gone around hunting for young men and young women in their sort of like teens, sort of like mid to late teens, and use them for their perversions, and eventually torture and kill them, sort of thing. It's a ghastly watch, and how this missed the video nasties, I've no idea. But yeah, Salo should have been a video nasty. Now this one, you probably think to yourself, I'm not sure where you're coming from with this one, Choff. But I'm going to say David Cronenberg's The Brood. And I'm simply saying that just because it's got like child killers on there. You know, there was a big uproar over Chucky 3, wasn't there? Over, we had the murder of James Boger, sadly, here in the UK. And instantly it was blamed on video nasties, and Chucky Child Play 3 was one of the films that was said, oh, that's the cause of it, when it turned out that the lads that did the murder actually hadn't seen the film. So it was like, but this has child murders in it, and it includes some sort of like extreme sort of body horror near the end of the film. But it was like these two sort of child killers going around killing, you know, and it's just like, I'm surprised that managed to pass our censors in the video nasties. Again, I'm sure this was late 70s. It might have even been very early 80s, but I'm sure it was late 70s. But yeah, David Cronenberg's The Brood, because his other films were more Parasite sort of based, with Rabid and Shivers. Then he we had the telepathy thing of scanners, and I'm surprised that made it through with the head blowing up and things like this. But they managed to pass those through. But the Brood, I thought, well, hang on a minute. One of the key things that they were going on about in Video Nasties was being an influence on young brains and young minds. Well, surely child killers is something that shouldn't have been sort of like seen. But there we go. It managed to get through, and it wasn't a Video Nasty, but I'm shocked. And I think that David Cronenberg's The Brood should have been on the Video Nasty list. Next up is a house invasion film, which again I'm very surprised it didn't make the Video Nasty list, and it's Straw Dogs. It was banned. It was banned. I can't remember why this, The Exorcist, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It might have been under obscene imagery. I don't know. They were banned, but not under the Video Nasty Act, and weren't up for sort of prosecution. And Straw Dogs wasn't. And I'm putting that down to it being, and that's going to sound daft, that because Dustin Hoffman was in it, and Dustin Hoffman was a big star in the 70s. He'd come up from making incredible films like Midnight Cowboy and Marathon Man and all these sort of like 70s films he was in, The Graduate and things like this. And then he made this film, and it's like a house invasion film starring him and Susan George. And they've moved to this small little village in England, and she used to live there when she was young, and they get pestered by the local men, and there's scenes of rape in here. She gets raped. It's quite a harsh rape scene, and then there's some violence with being killed with like a big sort of like trap, like the big metal traps, and people's like getting hands blown off and stuff like that. And I'm just thinking, how's that managed to get past the censors and be a Video Nasty? But it wasn't a Video Nasty. It was not a Section 1 Video Nasty. But I'm shocked it didn't get there as one, because like I said, it had the concrete of it as an exploitation sort of film, and it had all the ingredients of the 70s films that were banned or classed as Video Nasties. But this again went under radar. It got banned, like I said, under the Obscene Act, I believe, but apart from that, it wasn't in the Video Nasties, which I'm shocked about, solely because of the rape scene when Susan George gets raped. But yeah, there we go. Straw Dogs is another one I think should have been in the Video Nasty list. This one is a lot more obvious, I think, and it's a film by Lucio Fulci, and it's called Contraband, or it's called The Smuggler. When I knew it when it came out, it was called The Smuggler. And this is a crime thriller, but it's one of the most brutal and violent crimes thrillers I've ever seen. There's people getting their face burnt off. There's people getting shot through the mouth at point blank. You see it all. The camera doesn't go away from it. It shows you everything. It's extremely gory, extremely brutal, and to me, it's the most goriest and brutal film Lucio Fulci's ever made. And he had films on the Video Nasty list. We had House by the Cemetery, Zombie Flesh Eaters, and I'm sure he had another one on there. It might have been The Beyond, but I'm just thinking, why wasn't this on there? Contraband. I mean, it was more violent than all those, and it was a lot more gory than all those. But there we go. It managed to get by without being a Video Nasty. It's awful. I will bring this to my channel, review it. It's on Shameless. I've just not got round to doing it yet. But yeah, Contraband, I'm surprised, never ever made it to the Video Nasty list, because it's a lot more nasty than a lot of horror films that are out there. And stabbings and all sorts of things going on, and you see it all. There's a lot of gore and there's a lot of blood in there. So I'm surprised Contraband wasn't a Video Nasty. And last but not least, I think this is a Spanish-Italian combination film, if you like, and it's called Mark of the Devil, which was based a little bit like Witchfinder General. It's about these witchfinders in sort of medieval Europe, and they're going around torturing men and women horrendously, sticking like pokers in their back and sharp objects in their back, stabbing them and getting them to confess that they're witches. And it's got burnings, it's got like all sorts of torturous devices being used on these people. And you think, and there's a lot of nudity and stuff going on, and you think, how on earth wasn't this a video nasty? You know, it was not one of the Section 1's video nasties. And I'm shocked about that, you know, because I'm just thinking, how can that not be a video nasty? It's more violent and more graphic than Witchfinder General, which again, that's another film I'm surprised didn't make it, because there was a quite a controversial burning of a witch on there, which was quite realistic. But again, that didn't make the video nasty list. But this one, I think, really should have been on it, just for him, because he was weird. But yeah, really, again, it's another film that should have been on the video nasty list, and it just didn't get on there. Mark of the Devil. So there's 5 films that I think should have been on the video nasty list, but wasn't on it. They managed to escape it. So you got Mark of the Devil, The Brutal Contraband, Straw Dogs, David Cronenberg's The Brood, and of course Salo, 120 Days of Sodom. Cool. What about you? Is there any films that you think should have been on there? Like I said, there's other films that I think should have been on there that managed to get by it, and it's kind of crazy, really. You know, even films like Deliverance and films like that, which again had a rape scene on there, a male rape scene, and it's just like, how are these things managed to be okay, but then I Spit on Your Grave or Last House on the Left isn't? These are just as violent as both of those films. Cheers, guys.